I have a very agreeable personality. If you don't know what that means, probably worth doing one of the personality tests. You could do the Jordan Peterson one, the Myers-Briggs one is out there as well. But if you've never done them, basically the agreeableness, there's two sections underneath it, which is compassion and politeness. And my politeness is very high, like 81 or 82%, whatever it was, which you can probably tell through being very smiley, all sorts of expressions on my face where, like, I didn't know this for most of my life, but it's essentially coming from a place where I was very shy, introverted, would hate people making me uncomfortable. So that's what I would project outwards. All of that is essentially to try and put people at ease and not put people under pressure. Really, that's kind of where it's coming from. And yeah, basically for most of my life that I'd rather not say what I think, not be my true self, not take off the mask because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings or annoy anyone else. I'd rather just keep it all to myself. And like once you start doing these tests, you'll learn more about yourself and you can obviously overcome that and change it. But through that type of personality, which a lot of people are as well, it led me to not follow the results. And that's the topic of today's video, because when I eventually followed the results, my life changed dramatically through that. So I was always held back from it through my own personality, because I never even expressed my own opinion really, because I didn't want to upset people. So then I never questioned authority. Like, I wouldn't even cross my mind. Like, and if it did, the thoughts of questioning an authority would have made me feel so uncomfortable. The thoughts of putting up my hand in class would make my face burn and that type of stuff. So yeah, even like, it just wouldn't be a thought I'd really have to like try and question the experts that I'm going to for different things. So, it didn't make any sense to me back then why I wasn't getting results, but it makes complete sense now. Like, that's literally how the bell curve works. Just Google the bell curve, like, looks like a bell. That's why it's called the bell curve. So there's a few people that get pretty shit results, and then at the other end, there's a small percentage of people that get amazing results, and then the majority are somewhere in the middle. That's the average. That's average results. And just like I'm going to talk about throughout this video, that's the norms, the guidelines, the experts. All that's the average. Because think about it, like if you're doing what everyone else is doing, like following the mainstream advice, the norms, going to the experts that everyone's going to, you're obviously going to get the same results as the majority, because that's what the majority of people are doing. And what's the majority outcome for people? Average to shit, So it makes so much sense now, because I was following the norms, the guidelines, the experts, and getting average results. That's the bell curve. That's how it works. I wanted to be in the small percentage of people getting amazing results. And how I got there was through the concept of following the results, which you'll know very well by the end of this video. Okay, so I'll give you a few examples, I suppose, just to illustrate that, because I'm going to talk about it across the three things that plague my life and the three things that I educate people on now, clients or just people watching through the social media platforms: the physical freedom, mental freedom, lifestyle design. Because they're the three areas I was trying to improve for so long, for 23 years of my life, and I couldn't. I was just getting the average results. So like with the physical freedom, lost my physical freedom going to the experts for 10 years, eventually told to settle, had to give up sports that I loved to do, and was told to take up swimming. For the mental freedom stuff, you got a glimpse of it there, like so shy, introverted, wore a mask, wasn't being my true self, didn't know how to overcome that. And then also in terms of relationships and different things, relationships blew up for me, like romantic relationships, had no clue why that was happening, etc. So all the mental freedom stuff, able to be my true self, and able to navigate relationships in any sort of situation a lot more skillfully than before. And in terms of the lifestyle design, same as most people, I was entering the rat race, in my first job, facing 40 years ahead of me, doing something I've no passion for, building someone else's vision instead of my own. I knew that wasn't the life for me, but I didn't know what to do. So that you can get the starting point there. And if you follow me for a while now, I've come through to the end of got my physical freedom back, doing things like the splits and whatever that I was told was impossible for me. Got back to jiu-jitsu, worked up to purple belt, doing all these things I didn't think I'd be able to do again, because the experts said it was impossible for me. The mental freedom, the fact I'm even making this video, younger Marcus would be in the corner, his face burning, like just wanting to leave. And in terms of relationships and stuff as well, I've just much deeper self-awareness, know myself so much better, accepting myself, improving the areas that I want to improve on, to be the person I want to be in this life, and able to navigate relationships and everything else much better. Then for the lifestyle design, well, as you can probably see, here in my vest, I've got the freedom to do whatever I want now. So turn the passion into a career, only doing things I'm passionate about every single day, design on my own life in the way that I want it in terms of the routine. financial freedom, location freedom. That's what I'm just traveling Asia now. Going to do 3 to 6 months around Asia. Just arrived in Bali last week. Hence this outfit. Yeah, designed the life that I wanted. So you've seen the starting points. You've seen the eventual evolution. Let's talk about the gap in the middle. How did we actually get there? There's lots of different reasons, but one big concept is following the results. That's what you're going to learn today. So starting off with the problem then, yeah, as I have in the newsletter, read the newsletter on this topic. It'll be linked in the description if you want to go into a lot of detail. I think it was 5,000 or 6,000 words. It's an assignment on it, and it's in much more detail. In this video, I'll be talking for hours if I tried to cover it all. So I'm just going to hit on some of the main points. But with the problem, as I described it there, we live in the era of the superficial superhuman. Basically the incompetent experts, okay? So that's the way I've described it when I'm just brainstorming about like my whole journey going back. But that's how it was to me. You know, I looked up at all the experts giving me advice for different things, and I thought they just knew everything. You know, that they're, you know, they just know divine knowledge. They've come down from another planet to educate us mere mortals, and we have to listen to them. We never question them. And if whatever they say, that's the truth. You know, that was just me. I understand a lot of that was through my personality, like I described. But I think that's most people. A lot of us are under that illusion that the experts in the mainstream, that they just know everything, which is far from the case, as you'll find out. So yeah, just in terms of that then, how did I kind of see that? How was it kind of pointed out to me? There was different moments, but like when the moment for my physical freedom, we'll say, I went to 5 different experts and they all told me 5 different diagnoses of what was wrong with me. None of them were adding up. And then it started to click that it's just their opinion. It's just their opinion based on their education and their experience. Some have different education because they're physios, doctors, chiropractors, whatever, and they have different experience throughout their lives, so they're giving me different opinions. That's it. There's no divine knowledge here. I don't have to follow that route if it's not getting me results. And that's where it's kind of coming from. I decided to follow the results instead of that. Yeah, and the line I had there, I'm sure I've seen this from someone. We're afraid to go against these traditions, but essentially, tradition is just following the results of old people that are dead from generations gone by. Like we don't have to live that life. We're in the most opportunistic time in the history of the world. We can start to follow the results, look for better answers than just following that route. And if you're like me, you've probably followed that route for many years already. You've given it a chance. Like that was another penny dropping moment for me, for the physical freedom. I tried that route for 10 years. I tried the experts and the norms and the guidelines and all that stuff for 10 years. Still got average results, which obviously makes sense now in terms of the bell curve. Then when I follow the results, lo and behold, I end up entering into that small percentage of people that get great results. And another part of the problem then as well, before we get into the solutions on it, I had down the little paragraph around modern life has let them off the hook. You know, the kind of experts that are spouting all this stuff when a lot of it isn't true, a lot of this misinformation, there's no negative consequences for them. So they're just going to keep doing it. Like, you know, we'll use some hunter-gatherer examples here. If we talk about evolution, that makes things a lot clearer. You wouldn't get away with this back then. In the hunter-gatherer days, it was all about action rather than words. It was all about proof rather than like probabilities and different things like that. That's what it was all about. There was no fluff, no bullshit. You're going to practice what you preach or else you're going to get some consequences. So, like, let's just say if I rocked up to some new hunter-gatherer tribe or whatever, and I was trying to enter the tribe and I was telling them that I'm the greatest healer to ever walk this earth. We're going to find out pretty soon, aren't we? I'm not going to be able to sit up in my ivory tower with doctorates and degrees and spout all this stuff. I'm going to have to put it to the test here. And over the next couple of days, if I'm not healing people, I probably won't see the next sunrise because I've just deceived a whole tribe. I'm untrustworthy. They're going to get rid of me. And that's how it would have been. And even just the fact that you know there's negative consequences for not acting out of integrity, that's going to massively put you off deceiving people and spouting misinformation. Like just that fact. So that's what the fear of negative consequences makes you act out of integrity. But now if we translate that to modern life, what's the negative consequence? There is none. You know, anyone can get online, get a huge following and just start spouting stuff with the confidence of the gods, and there's no negative consequences. In fact, it's the opposite. You'll get some positive consequences. You'll probably end up with a fat wallet and a full bank account, benefiting from naive people who don't understand how the things actually work. So there you go. Obviously people are going to do it. They're incentivized to do it if they've no integrity, because there's obviously ones out there, which I'm aspiring to be as well, as acting from integrity. It's not the financially best way to do it, but again, people who have values and morals, that's the most important thing to them, not the money on the other end. So that's the big thing. Like they wouldn't have got away with this before, but now just in this era with no consequences, yeah, they get away with it, no bother, and they even get positive consequences from it too, so it's not going to end. And at the section of the newsletter there, like my shadow side, the Dr. Hyde to my Jekyll, I think I'd said in there, is like, I've said before, joking over messages with different people when we're just like, how is this misinformation out there? And like, the stuff you showed me helped me so much more and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, someday I'm just going to get, 2 pool balls, put them in the sock and just start tracking down these people who are spouting this misinformation. It's obviously just a little joke, but ironically enough, imagine I did that, and imagine that hit the news, that some psycho's going around battering people who are spreading misinformation on the human body or across other areas of life. What would happen then? People would see that on the news. And just like in the hunter-gatherer days, that bit of fear of like, oh, if I actually try to deceive people and make money off of this guy might find me, and actually maybe I'll start acting more out of integrity now. Like that's how society and things work. So obviously I'm not going to do that. What am I going to do? I'm going to try and put out the better information for you guys, the guys that are watching me, arm you with this armor against the war of misinformation, and start being able to navigate this stuff yourself, be able to follow the results yourself, and get the progress that I did. So moving on from that then, we'll start going into it now, okay? So how do we actually do this then? There's 3 steps that I've broken down for following the results, and as I said, it's ancient evolution to modern wisdom. So I'll talk a bit about evolution and where this actually came from, and then we're going to go into the 3 steps of it here, which we've sharpened the bullshit detector, follow the results over doctorates and degrees, and then remember, you are your own best guide at the end. Okay, so following the results, why should we listen to this? Where is it coming from? It's coming from evolution. Just like I said, I've analysed like ancient evolution, how progress worked in terms of evolution, and now transferred that here to modern wisdom, into modern life, and I've used this to progress all areas of my life across the physical freedom, mental freedom, lifestyle design, and you can do it as well. So what am I talking about with the ancient evolution? That's how evolution actually works. Like, following the results is how evolution works. That's what natural selection actually is. So if you don't know anything about evolution, that's how we've got here. Natural selection picks the attributes, the genes that are the most advantageous in terms of survival, and that's how we progress on. Like, if any, just through mating, different gene variations will come up, and then the ones who have adaptations that are more advantageous to help us survive, they're the people that are going to survive more, and then they're the ones that are going to mate more. And then it creates more of people with those adaptations, and then that goes on and on and on and on, all the way from apes swinging out of trees in Africa 6 million years ago to me and you today. It's followed the results. Evolution, natural selection, it's literally follow the results. That's what it was. And then if we take the approach that we use in society today, which is not following the results, it's like following the norms or the shiny objects or whatever it is with no real backing, we'll take that back to evolution. That would be like if evolution didn't follow natural selection and it just followed what looks flashy, we'll say the shiny object. Okay, imagine, we'll say like big arms and big legs, because hunter-gatherers are fairly skinny, not like big bodybuilders today, but big arms look cool, big legs, they look strong. That'll probably help people survive more. Yeah, imagine evolution just favored those things, like huge arms, huge legs. What would happen? They're not following the results here. Over time with evolution, like we were endurance hunters. That's how we would get a lot of food. Hunting, gathering. The hunting is endurance hunting down animals because we're better endurance capabilities than them. Then the gathering would be gathering nuts and plants and seeds and stuff like that. So over time with just huge arms, huge legs, we'd lose the endurance capabilities. We wouldn't be as good. And then you might think, oh, but wouldn't you be so much stronger? Yeah, we would be so much stronger, but we're still way weaker than all the other animals that don't run away from us. Like, we're not going to overpower, a lion or whatever else as well. So like, chances are we'd probably die off. Like, if we weren't able to endurance hunt animals back then, we have the gathering of the seeds and different things, but like, chances are we'd probably die off, and you can see it there. Like, when you don't follow the results, the adaptations that are going to keep us alive, yeah, me and you probably wouldn't be here, you know? And then you translate that back over now to modern life and you can see it as well. It's like people are deteriorating across body, mindset and life because they're not following the results. They're not following the strategy proven by 4.5 billion years of evolution. They're just listening to Johnny on the internet saying some shit that, you know, he's not passing the Idols of Integrity test, which we'll see down below a bit further. So that just made it so clear to me when I started thinking into all this and like why I wasn't getting results. I wasn't following the data and the proof of how evolution and progress and results actually work. But once I did, that's what got me progress, and I've broken it down into 3 steps for you here. So like I said, go into the newsletter if you want to go through these 3 steps in detail, because I have lots of information, then an analogy for each one. I'm just going to go through the analogy here for the sake of time. So on sharpening your bullshit detector, we're going to use the analogy here of your sink is broken and you're trying to get someone to fix it, okay? Who would you get? Are you going to get a chef? Are you going to get an accountant? No, you're going to get a plumber in to fix the sink, okay? That's following the results. Why? Because he's shown clear efficacy for fixing them and he's a track record of doing it. So let's just say we don't follow the results here to make it clear. Okay, you get in a chef to fix your sink. What would happen? He'd have a good go at it, might even fix it, but then 2 days later it's broken again and you have to call him back. Then he'll have another go. He might fix it a bit better. Maybe now it lasts for 1 or 2 weeks, then it breaks again, then you have to call him back, okay? Does that sound like the best solution? Obviously not, because I've made it very clear through an analogy. But translate that over now to the healthcare industry. I have chronic back pain. I want someone to fix it. I go to the chiropractor. This is my literal example, by the way. People will resonate through their own examples. I want him to fix my chronic back pain. I go to him. He does his adjustments. I feel a bit better. Within a few weeks, it's back to the way it was. Then I go back to him maybe 3-4 months later. He does it again. I feel a bit better. Same thing, few days, few weeks, few months, whatever. It's back to the way it was. I go back to him again. Repeat for 8 years. That sound like a good solution? And like you have to go through these analogies to make it crystal clear to show you that a lot of the strategies we're pursuing to overcome things like chronic pain make no fucking sense. No fucking sense. Why was I doing that? Because my mom went, because other friends were going to chiropractic, because that's what the norm, the mainstream did, and I didn't know any better. Didn't question it. Didn't know the stuff I'm telling you now. But you can see how ridiculous that is. That's literally like you're getting the chef over to fix your sink and you think that's the best strategy. You know, it makes no sense. So moving on from that one, at the end it was like, stop hiring the chef, get a fucking plumber for all areas of your life. Second point, following the results over doctorates and degrees. So with this one, I had the analogy of Larry McGinty and Bob McIntyre. Don't know where the hell them names came from. First things that popped into my head. So the analogy here is that you want to become a millionaire. Okay, you want to become a millionaire. You have 2 options. You can go to the 4-year course on how to become a millionaire in the quickest amount of time, and it's taught to you by PhD Larry McGinty, and he's actually on a salary of 60,000 per year. Second option then, you've Bob McIntyre down the road, no formal education, but he's a mansion, 2 Lamborghinis out the front, and he's a few holiday homes around Europe. Who are you going to? For 23 years of my life, I was going to Larry. I was going to all the Larrys of the world, for my body, you know, for the physical freedom, for the mental freedom, for lifestyle design. Yeah, going to all the Larrys in the world didn't work. You know, quickly on that, like the healthcare route, 10 years of that, didn't get me my physical freedom back. You know, with the relationship issues and the mental freedom, went to psychologists. They're like, no real childhood trauma, seem to kind of have your life together in general, nothing we can really do. Great. No help, really. Lifestyle design, went to careers guidance counsellor, basically told him I really value integrity and I love helping people and things I'm passionate about. Got the options of like, oh, a guard, a teacher, or an occupational psychologist. Cool. He was essentially in a 9-to-5 doing the same slog I'm trying to get out of. Okay, not going to help me design the life that I want. So you can see there, that they're the Larrys of the world for me trying to fix my issues. Didn't get me the results across either of them. Now, the last 7 years of my life, I'm going to all the Bobs I can find. I don't give a fuck what they have on the wall behind them or how many numbers they have before their name online. Show me the results. That's it. Like I've been there long enough with my examples to see 10 years following the best experts I could find, no results. At the end of the day, you really just care about the results like that. You don't care about all that other stuff as long as you get the result that you want. So that's what I started doing, going to all the bobs of the world over the last 7 years, got the physical freedom back, got the mental freedom. As you can see here, designed the life that I want. You know, and this is the whole point through that analogy. Probably could have made a better analogy as well, actually, because I did realize, yeah, Bob sounds a bit like a drug dealer in that one, but look, you're getting the point from it. Okay, last one then. Remember that you are your own best guide. And sorry, just to finish off on that second point, a vital point there as well to finish off the analogy. What you're doing there is you're skipping the middleman, you're going to the source. Like, that's the point there. Go to the source. Like, here's the end goal of a millionaire. Oh, there's Larry's course on how to become the, like, fuck that. Just go to the millionaires, go to the source and get the information from them. Other than that, it doesn't make any sense. You know, and that's what I'm trying to get across with that analogy if that wasn't clicking for you. Third one then, remember you are your own best guide. Okay, we're going to explain this one now through an analogy of an explorer. Because like with the first 2 points, that's all about like getting over following the norm, realize that doesn't make sense, follow the kind of evolution strategy, and then, you know, following the results massively. But the third point is like, don't get carried away with that. Now, don't get carried away with everyone else's results. They're great guides, but you're the ultimate guide, okay? And this is the third point, which is very important too. Okay, to remember that. What did I say there? Yeah, that you're your own best guide. So, analogy of the explorer. Excuse me again. So, you're exploring some land, I don't know. Okay, so you're just off exploring and you come across this farm. And you're a bit lost yourself, you know, let's say the phone battery died or whatever, and you're a bit lost and you see a farm and you're going to go in there now and ask him, does he have a map of the land so that you can navigate your way through it and get to where you want to go. You go in there, seems like a great man. He's like, oh yeah, I have a map. I'll give it to you for free, no problem. You're ecstatic. You're like, great. I'm following the results here. He lives here, whatever. He knows the map. He's going to give it to me for free. Great, I'm sorted. That's kind of like, you know, points 1 and 2. I'm following the results. I'm sorted. Great. But then this farmer is looking at the explorer. This farmer is looking at the explorer like this explorer is a bit too naive. He doesn't have the full picture of what following the results is really about. And he has to teach him the final lesson here of following the results. So he hands him the map, but then he says, do you think it's just all about following the results? And the explorer is like, yeah, of course it is. If I follow the results, I'm going to get the results that you got. That's how it works. That's how it's worked all through my life so far. I'm 30 years old, like I am now. You know, we'll say the farmer is 60 or 70. And he looks back at the explorer saying, unfortunately, that's not how it works. I'm going to tell you now, but I could have let you off to learn this lesson by yourself, but I'm going to tell you now and not let you learn the hard way, just like I'm doing in this whole video for you guys. I'm living here 30 years. The land has actually changed. In the part of that map, it'll say go straight, but there's a massive crack in the ground and there's a 10-foot drop down and you'd fall and break your 2 legs and probably die down that hole. But you wouldn't have known this if I didn't tell you. You would have blindly followed the map. Explorer feels a bit silly now, doesn't he? You know, in his exuberance of so excited to follow the results, as the farmer is showing him, it's just a map from someone else of what worked. But that was at a specific point in time. The farmer got that map 30 years ago. He's now 60 years old. The land has changed. He's changed. Everything's changed since, not everything, but a lot of things have changed since then. So the map, it's no longer entirely valid. And it might not have been entirely valid anyway from the start, because it would have had where the farmer wants to go. It may not have had where the explorer wanted to go. So the farmer is just letting that sit with him for a minute, and he asks him, is that making sense to you now? And after thinking, the explorer says, I think it is. I think it's very important to follow the results. That's the quickest way to get progress in things you want to do. But the results are just like guardrails on a bowling lane. They're just there to help you head in the right direction, make sure you're not wasting time and that you are heading in the right direction, but it's not going to help you hit the actual pins that you want. There we go. And the farmer looks back and with a big smile and says, you've learned the final lesson. Time to get on your way. Okay. Moving on then, we're going to finish up with just 2 more parts. I have down the idols of integrity. So up before I had, you know, the era of the superficial Superman, you know, the incompetent experts. which for me personally, I shouldn't have been following them. I should have been following the results. Who have the results, in my opinion? The idols of integrity, the people that have the integrity. You know, we're not forced to act out of integrity in this modern life, but the ones who actually value that and want to do that. And the quote that I had there from Devin Kelly, I love his stuff if you're following him. And I'll always remember some of the quotes he puts up because they've been so impactful. But this one on the idols of integrity, he had a post up about like, we need more people out there, you know, standing tall, applying reason, the ones who are sailing the seas of emotional introspection and going to war to acquire their knowledge. I'm getting shivers saying that there, but that's it. They're the people I start following. You know, the ones going to war for their knowledge and to get the results. You know, it's the man in the arena. People probably know that speech as well from, was it Theodore Roosevelt, I think it was, about, it's the man in the arena, and he doesn't listen to the people up in the crowd saying, you should have done this, you should have done that. They don't have a fucking clue. They're up there, you know, like the experts up in the ivory towers. They haven't the real experience that and results that you're actually looking for. It's the man in the arena. You know, it's the ones of integrity who are going to war trying to acquire this knowledge. And you know, that's what I've aspired to do then. They're the people that I followed over the last 7 years, and there's been so many people that helped me, and that's what I've been doing since. You know, I've gone to war for this knowledge. Like, I dip into some of the pain, but like, Jesus, like, yeah, pain across the physical freedom, the mental freedom, lifestyle design, some of the worst pain in my life, you know, and I just went to war to overcome them for myself. It wasn't for anyone else. It was just to improve my own life because I wasn't happy with it. And usually then when people actually do overcome it, they're happy to help other people with it. Like, why wouldn't they? So they're the people that I follow. That's the person I'm trying to become. It's up to you. If you've watched this far in the video, I know you are as well. So what else had I had in there? Oh yes, I had like one or two great lines, like ways that you can analyze. Is this person, you know, is he the kind of the superficial Superman, or is he the idol of integrity? A great one. Wait, am I in the right section there? Yeah, it is, yeah, because it's another one from Devin. It was like, you can just think of it like, does this shoe fit? Or is this a mold of someone else's foot? That is a great line that really helps decide who you want to take advice from. You know, it cuts through all the bullshit, because just like it says, is it a mold of their foot? Is it really them kind of projecting their own situation onto you? Or does the shoe actually fit? Does their advice actually feel like it's right for you and personality-wise, at the situation you are in life, from the values that you hold? Okay, massively helpful, that line to me, because, you know, even just for building businesses, lots of different ways to do it. A lot of them make me more money, different things. That shoe doesn't fit for me. You know, I want to do things in my own way, spread better information, not doing a lot of things that other people are doing. So that's a good way to kind of separate those people for yourself. Ask yourself that question. You'll get different answers to me, but that question helps to get clarity for what you want personally, because we're all going to be a little bit different on that. And another thing I use here as well in my own life, which I'm giving this tool to you too, to kind of separate the charlatans from the actual people following the results and getting the results, is going back to evolution. Another evolution example where sometimes I think of this, I'm like, imagine hunter-gatherers were just transported forward in time to right now, and they were watching me. 30 minutes in now, we'll finish this up soon. Yeah, so I think if a hunter-gatherer was put forward into modern life now, and they saw what I was doing in this world, would they be like, I'm proud of Mark, you know, we'll take him with us back in time because he's going to help us get progress? Or would they look at me and be like, what have we worked so hard for if this is how humans are going to end up, you know? So it's harsh, it's a harsh truth, but I love harsh truths. Why? Because on the other side of that coin, there's going to be progress. Like, harsh truths, they hit you where it hurts. People will run for them. Maybe you'll run from that. I did for 23 years of my life. Last 7 years, I faced these things. I feel the pain, I work through it, see where I need to improve on, and I put in the work. And as I said, on the flip side of that coin, I'll start getting the results then. So that's another tool you can use. You can use the shoe analogy, or you can use that evolution analogy for yourself or for other people when you're trying to find out who should actually follow in terms of advice. We'll finish up then with the last part, the conclusion, which was to ride the wave, you need to go against the current. Yeah, so to ride the wave, you need to go against the current. Love this quote, used it with so many people, from lifestyle design clients, or just people ask me questions in the DMs like, how do I achieve X? Whatever it is, if it's across physical freedom, mental freedom, lifestyle design. And while I will go into more micro details on it, the first kind of macro thing I'll say is to ride the wave, you need to go against the results. Or sorry, don't go against the results. To ride the wave, you need to go against the current. Okay, so to ride the wave, you need to go against the current. Break that down, okay? Like literally, if you want to get up on top of the wave, how is it going to happen? The wave is coming this way. You have to go the other way, okay? So like everyone else is going that way. That's like the mainstream. Everyone's going that way. You have to take ownership and realize, no, if I'm going to get different results, I have to go back the other way, a different direction. So if you go a different direction, eventually you're going to start riding the wave now that other people aren't on. And that's what I've done. Like it, you know, I put it out in black and white in the newsletter. I'm a man of logic. If something is explained to me in a logical way, I'll get on board with it then, or more likely to get on board. So if you want results that other people aren't getting, you need to do things that other people aren't doing. It can't be said any more simply. It can't be put any more black and white than that. If you want results that other people aren't getting, you have to do things that other people aren't doing. How else is it going to happen? If you do what they do, you'll get the results the majority do, which is average, going back to the bell curve, okay? So that is it. Once I started learning all this, I was like, it made complete sense to why I had no results across physical freedom, mental freedom, lifestyle design for 23 years. And how now over the last 7 years, I've got amazing results across all of them. Okay, so what else have I not mentioned there? Yeah, and like, funny enough, I came up with my own, I have a few quotes for myself, just life lessons, and like when I started following the results, like a line that just came to me one day when I realized all this was like, follow the average if you want to be average, follow the outliers if you want to emulate them and be like them. That was it. That's what I was telling myself, you know, when I'm looking for advice on anything, I'm like, follow the average if you want to be average, look for the outliers, follow the outliers if you want to emulate them and get their amazing results. And that's what I started doing. And then only when I came across that quote then, to ride the wave, you need to go against the current. As you can see, they mean the same thing. I just made up my own quote to explain it, and that's a more popular quote that explains it. This is literally following the results in action, because I followed the results in my own way, someone else did it in their way. We've come to the same conclusion, which lines in with the bell curve. That's another way to follow the results when people analysed who gets the great results, you know. So, and that's the cool thing about it, is when you start following the results across all different areas of life, you'll end up meeting certain people that have come to the same conclusions. And you'll all just meet up and have conversations about things and just be like, what is going on with this modern life? Like, what, you know, why isn't this information more widespread? Because you're chatting to other people, getting results, and then you're looking back on like the mainstream stuff, like, yeah, you just want to bring more people with you. So last thing we'll finish off there is one more kind of concept around the riding the wave to get to the current, is that talent creates method, and then method creates talent. So to break that down a bit, talented people in certain areas who get results, following the results, okay, so there's the results, they usually create methods on how to get there. That's what I'm trying to do now with this, you know, with those 3 areas. They're the ones plagued my life, gone to war to get the knowledge on how to progress in them through following the results, got the results in all of them, got, you could say, talented in those areas. Now, talent creates method. This is the method. I'm trying to create these methods to help you get there. And then what happens? You take the method will now create the talent. You'll be able to create, you know, the skills, the beliefs, the tools, the strategies that you need to get the results that I've got. Do you see what I mean? And the cool thing about this is that loop keeps going and going and going and going. And it changes a bit each time because, you know, run through a quick example. Talent creates method. Someone created a method to improve my physical freedom. I went to them, learned their method, became talented in terms of physical freedom. Then I created my own method. Then I give that to my clients. They become talented in terms of physical freedom, and it spans out. And it's all a little bit unique and different in terms of the method, because we're all unique perspective vessels. We have different beliefs, emotions, life experiences, all that kind of stuff. So the method we create will be a little bit different. And why this is amazing is because there's so many results out there. Like, if you follow the results on a topic, you might come to similar areas, but there'll be different variations of it based on people's different personalities and things like that. So that's why it's amazing. There's results out there for anyone who's watching, no matter what type of personality you are. There's results out there from someone who's gone to war to get it. They've got the talent. They've created the method for you if you go looking for it. Okay, so we'll leave it up there. And the last line I had then is following the results, you know, in one line. Why follow the results? Because it's the natural selection of mindset. You know, that's coming full circle. That's what it is. Following the results is the natural selection of mindset. think about it like this. You're trying to get progress with something. Who are you going to listen to? You're going to listen to Jimmy on the internet, or John, who has 4 PhDs on his wall, who has been around, what, probably 30 to 60, 70 years? Or are you going to trust Mother Nature, who's been around for 4.5 billion years, and you can see what's the best way of getting progress there? Through natural selection, which is what? Following the results. There's nothing more to say. I followed that route for 23 years, didn't get progress. I decided, actually, I'm not going to listen to someone who's been on the earth for 30 to 60 years. I'm going to trust Mother Nature from 4.5 billion years. She knows a lot more than us how progress works. I've taken that ancient evolution strategy for progress, brought it through to modern wisdom. That's how you get progress now. Nothing more to say. We'll end there. Like I said, click on the newsletter if you want to go into that in much more detail. And yeah, that was fun. Exciting. Love doing these videos once I get into them. So yeah, see you next week's one.